A boisterous laugh could be heard from Madara, the newly awakened Ten Tails Jinchuriki. His dense chakra coated the battlefield, making it incredibly hard to move. Do you think we stand a chance against him? Naruto asked Sasuke, whose Rinnegan and Sharingan were trained on Madara. At our current strength, we'd struggle, and most likely fail, Sasuke answered grimly. Hinata landed beside Sakura and the other Jinchuriki. What about the four of us? Me, Sakura, you, and Naruto. No matter how many shinobi go against him, it won't change the fact that he outclasses us. But yes, the four of us stand the best chance. The Kage should remain behind to protect the rest, and the Jinchuriki should bow out. In fact, they should give Naruto the rest of their Tail Beast chakra. He's the strongest, so he needs all the power he can get. I'd have to agree, Yagura panted. Naruto stands the greatest chance of success. Yes, so we need the tailed beasts to wake up so we can transfer their power over to him and Kurama, Han added. Naruto looked at the 8 people he'd quickly come to see as family. Are you sure? If you give me too much of their power, it'll put you at risk. If it means you can defeat Madara, then so be it, Gaara answered. Killer Bee's eyes morphed to resemble Gyugi, meaning he was already awake. Fret not, Naruto. Us tailed beasts have been ready to share our chakra with you since the beginning. In fact, I would recommend you take it. And then, combine your chakra with the Uchiha beside you. Naruto turned to look at Sasuke, confused. He retreated to his mindscape, looking down at Kurama, who was stirring from his temporary sleep. He stared at the Uzumaki, a stern expression on his face. Naruto blinked, knowing what that stare meant. He returned to reality, looking to the Jinchuriki. He took in a deep breath. Okay then. Tailed beasts, will you share your power with me? Naruto felt himself sucked into the deeper tailed beast psyche, coming to stand before the giants that were the tailed beasts. Their Jinchuriki stood in front of him, fists outstretched. Naruto was left in momentary surprise before shaking his head to clear it. A faint smile graced his lips, his fist coming to bump against the other 8. The tailed beast's fists bumped together above the Jinchuriki, grins on their faces. Naruto nodded in thanks, feeling a rush of energy flow through him. He blinked, returning to reality once again. The Jinchuriki were panting, both Hinata and Sakura using their medical prowess to keep them conscious. He could sense very little of the tailed beast's chakra within them, just enough to keep them all alive. Naruto could feel fragments of the tailed beast's thoughts within his mind, indicating he did indeed have their chakra. He then turned to Sasuke. His Rinnegan and Sharingan stared back, a look of determination clear within them. Let's hope the tailed beasts are right about this, Naruto huffed, reaching his fist out to the Uchiha. Sasuke only smirked, bumping his fist against Naruto's. Both felt their chakra mix, a strange sensation coming over them. Naruto winced, feeling the voices of the tailed beasts within his mind. Kurama spoke above them all, heard even by Sasuke. Father, show yourself, and give these two your power. Otherwise, this world is doomed. What is he talking about? Sasuke asked. Naruto was about to reply, but his vision suddenly went blank. He tried to open his eyes, but to no avail. He could sense Sasuke still beside him, but no one else. Their chakra felt warm, while at the same time cold. Light, but extremely heavy. He then felt another presence, not in front of them or behind them. Instead, he felt it within them, emanating from their own bodies. Well, I'm surprised my creations have found a pair of humans they trust. Or rather, they trust you, Naruto. and accept you begrudgingly, Sasuke." Naruto's eyes snapped open, looking to Sasuke, who was equally as confused. They both turned to see a man, legs crossed, floating a few inches off the invisible ground. His white robes, skin, and hair were in stark contrast to the black orbs floating around him, and the oddly shaped staff floating over his lap. His forehead had a red circle with multiple ripples, and his eyes were a pair of purple Rinnegan. "The Sage of Six Paths," Sasuke breathed out. "Yes, I see the Elder Toad of Myoboku has told you much. Good memories of a time when the world was much simpler, and I was the only bizarre entity. But then I decided to give my full power to one of my sons instead of both, resulting in the broken world the two of you now live in." "Why are you here?" Naruto asked, hesitantly. "Your chakra, of course. It's the first time this has happened. The bearers of my son's wills breaking the cycle in order to achieve a common goal. Initially, I hoped Hashirama and Madara were going to be the ones. But Madara had other plans, and Hashirama made some poor decisions with the tailed beasts." Naruto found himself utterly stunned. Sasuke gulped, his thoughts leaning towards combat. But one glance into the sage's Rinnegan, and he knew he stood no chance. Nor did the sage intend to fight, even though he could defeat both of them in the blink of an eye. "What do you want from us? Surely you have a purpose in appearing before us, other than the fact that we carry the will of your sons," Naruto asked, feeling natural energy swirling around them. "The tailed beasts called for me due to the revival of the Ten Tails, just as I requested. Even if they weren't fully absorbed, their power won't stand a chance against it. In addition, Madara is undoubtedly a master with its chakra, despite only gaining it moments ago. The only thing that can stand against him is the power that I possess." "But you're dead," Naruto pointed out. "There's no way you can give us any power. And even if you could, didn't you pass it on to Ashura? When Ashura passed away, his chakra returned to the Sage of Six Paths, who was also dead by that point," Sasuke explained, much to Naruto's surprise. "The Elder Toad explained to me that due to you being the son of Kaguya, your chakra acts similarly to the tailed beasts. Upon death, it slowly reforms over many years. The difference is that yours doesn't take on a physical form." "Correct," Hagoromo smiled. "So, I've watched the world my sons attempted to create. In fact, I've had to choose the one to inherit the wills of Indra and Ashura, unfortunately. And I've waited for such a time where those wills became one, just as the two of you did." "You mean I put Sasuke on the correct path?" Naruto asked. "What makes you think this was your doing?" Sasuke scoffed. "I stopped you from joining that damned Orochimaru, didn't I?" Naruto retorted. Sasuke huffed, knowing the blonde was right. "Anyways," Hagoromo continued, "the reason I've appeared is to give you a chance against the Ten Tails. My mother, Kaguya, has no chance of being revived now that Black Setsu is gone, meaning you simply need to split the Ten Tails back into the Nine-Tailed Beasts. And what if Madara performs the infinite Tsukuyomi? Is there any way to prevent it?" Naruto asked. "Simple. You can undo the infinite Tsukuyomi by performing the rat hand sign together. But, in order to have that power, I ask that you reach out your hands," Hagoromo requested. The two glanced at each other, slowly reaching out their palms. Naruto's right, and Sasuke's left. Hagoromo did the same, pressing his palms against theirs. "I gift to you half of my power each. With it, I also entrust the safety of this world to you." Both Naruto and Sasuke couldn't even speak, power instantly filling their bodies. Divine light filled their vision, an indescribable aura emanating from each of them. They pulled their hands back. seeing a mark on their palm. Naruto had the sun, while Sasuke had the moon. Naruto looked up at Sasuke, seeing that he now had 2 Rinnegan, one with 6 tomos along the ripples. The Uchiha was equally surprised by Naruto's new look. His body was coated in a bright gold jacket and black shirt and pants. His hair spiked up, his eyes a pure orange with cross-shaped pupils. 9 black orbs appeared behind him, one transforming into a staff that floated into his hand. His Rinnegan could see the natural energy within him, even more potent than his regular Sage mode. You now have the power to defeat Madara Uchiha. I wish you luck, Hagoromo said, slowly floating back, preparing to send the 2 back to reality. Wait, Naruto stopped him. If your chakra has been floating around, then doesn't that mean Hamura's chakra is too? Hagoromo chuckled. Correct you are. I assume you ask because you hope your female companions can borrow his power as well, so they stand on equal footing with you. You read my mind, Naruto smirked. Hagoromo chuckled. Fear not. My brother has already approached Hinata and Sakura. Whether he's given them his power is up to them. Now, go forth, Uchiha Uzumaki. The Sage of 6 Paths faded into mist, the black expanse vanishing as well. Both shinobi opened their eyes to see the real world once again. They both turned, feeling the incredible aura behind them. Sakura and Hinata stood staring at themselves, while Naruto and Sasuke were surrounded by a gold and purple aura. Sakura was surrounded by green, and Hinata blue. Their diamond seals were glowing, Hinata's appearance becoming similar to Naruto's, a bright blue jacket with black clothes underneath. I see you persuaded Hamura to lend you to his chakra, Sasuke chuckled, seeing their ridiculous levels of chakra. That we did, Sakura drawled out, looking down at the green aura covering her. You guys ready to take him down? Naruto asked, pointing to the approaching Madara. Smirks adorned all their faces, no words necessary. They turned collectively towards the Ten-Tails Jinchuriki, whose face was a mixture of annoyance and glee. Perhaps now you'll be a proper challenge, Madara chuckled. Well, I'm not holding back one bit this time, Naruto snarled, his chakra spiking. I've got 9 attacks from the tailed beasts with your name on them. I don't know where this surge of power has come from, but I doubt 4 of you could defeat me when 9 of you couldn't before, Madara responded. I don't know, Hinata retorted, shrugging her shoulders. We did get a power-up from the 2 beings who defeated Kaguya Otsutsuki. Sakura cracked her knuckles. Hey Hinata, you ready to finally show off our secret combination technique? Of course. Let's just hope this new power helps it do some damage, Hinata replied, focusing on the storage seals. Sasuke's hand lit up with pure black lightning, while Naruto used his truth-seeking orbs to create a set of swords which he coated with wind. Madara let out an exasperated sigh, letting his chakra run freely. He wasn't going to hold back. Every power at his disposal was going to be used. He raised his hand, pointing to the female shinobi. Sasuke jumped in front of them in an instant, creating 3 shadow clones. All 4 of them disappeared in a flash, Naruto slamming a Sage-empowered Rasengan into an invisible force that replaced Sasuke and his clones. Madara's eyes widened in shock. He'd just sent out all 4 of his Limbo clones, a power given to him by his new Rinnegan. They each had power equal to himself, and they'd been dispatched in an instant. He stared at Sasuke, who'd seemingly swapped places with them, likely the power of his own new Rinnegan. He must have been able to see them with his Rinnegan, and the Uzumaki must sense them with his enhanced Sage mode. Madara threw his arms up to block a steam-powered punch from Naruto, sending him flying out of the battlefield into a distant mountain. He groaned, pulling himself out of the crater, only to see Sasuke swap places with one of his truth-seeking orbs, planting a black Chidori into his face. Madara skidded across the stone surface. "I felt that," Madara snarled, wiping dirt off his cheek. "And here I thought only natural energy could damage me. Then again, you do still have Orochimaru's curse mark. He and Naruto aren't the only ones with the power to hurt you." Madara whipped around to see hundreds of water dragons descend upon him. He dodged as many as possible, a few grazing him, the water acting like needles that stabbed into his skin. Sakura landed a punch into his side, Hinata appearing on the other to do the same. The two girls pushed Madara away, until he batted them away with his truth-seeking orb. Fire style. Heavenly flame desolation. A spiral of white fire flew towards them, Hinata throwing up a funnel of water to absorb it. Water style. Great rain jutsu. The clouds above Madara darkened, a shower of chakra-filled rain falling from them. Lightning style. Scattered thunder spear. Naruto threw the blades of electricity, Madara dodging each one. But as each bolt came into contact with a water droplet, it bounced off, flying back towards Madara. He rolled his eyes, using his orbs to create a shield. Magnet style. Rasen Shuriken. A blue sphere with black markings smashed the shield to bits, much to the wielder's shock. It then blasted Madara away. Lava style. Rasen Shuriken. Naruto flashed above the Ten Tails Jinchuriki, using the attack to deliver a downward blast. Madara stopped himself mid-fall, receiving a double punch to the gut from Sakura, sending him back up. Coral Shrapnel! Naruto thrust his palm into Madara's chest, huge spikes of pink coral sprouting out his back. The Uchiha gasped, quickly regaining his senses and grabbing Naruto's throat. Naruto choked, his body lighting up with blue flames, forcing Madara to release him. Sasuke swapped places with the blonde, punching Madara with his Susanoo ribcage. He landed, Naruto and Hinata engaging him in an explosive bout of taijutsu. Shockwaves threatened to blow away the onlooking shinobi, all in pure bewilderment. "Those kids," Tsunade groaned with a smile, sitting up with help from Shibuki. "They really are something. Well, it's a good thing our villages have banded together. Otherwise, we'd have to deal with those four, A side." Madara produced a staff, Naruto making a pair of swords, creating black sparks each time they clashed. Naruto blocked a swipe, Hinata stepping in, fist reared back, Byakugan active. Her eyes focused on the truth-seeking orb staff, somehow able to see the exact location she had to punch. She made contact, splitting the staff cleanly in half, despite them being apparently indestructible. But she wasn't going to question it, as Madara was already back on offense. He used the strongest almighty push to blow both her and Naruto away. Kirin! The lightning barely grazed Madara, but it still stung. He looked up just in time to see Sasuke flying down with sword in hand, coated with black lightning. Madara produced a stone wall, which Sasuke easily cut through. His Rinnegan then focused on the perfect copy of Naruto's Rasen Shuriken in Madara's hands. His shock lasted only a second, dodging the projectile by using a wind jutsu. "Tailed Beast Bomb!" Madara shouted, a crimson sphere of condensed chakra flying from his hand towards his fellow Uchiha. "Insect Consuming Barrage!" Naruto flashed in front of Sasuke, unleashing Fu's insects that quickly ate away at the bomb before surrounding Madara. He blew them away, only to receive a punch from Sakura. Hinata appeared, punching him back towards Sakura. The two sent him back and forth before he decided to summon his Susanoo. The being of chakra towered over everything, easily twice as tall as the tailed beasts. It shone with pure white light, wielding a staff that needed all his truth-seeking orbs to create. Its wings spanned from one mountaintop to another. Madara floated within the red gem on its forehead, looking down at the mortals below him. Naruto cursed, creating two clones. The trio threw Rasen shurikens, one made of water, another of Gyuki's ink, the last of wind. But when they struck the Susanoo, it made little more than a temporary scratch. "Naruto, let's join," Sasuke suggested. "Well, we do. The girls can show off their new combination technique." "I've heard talk about this, so I'm game," Naruto smirked. "Let's see what they've got." "Thanks for the invitation," Sakura chuckled, jumping in front of them with Hinata beside her. "We'll take it from here." "Agreed. Let's do this," Hinata smirked. They began flashing through hand signs, still needing a full 30 seconds. They ended with the tiger sign, then placed their hands over their storage seals. Every drop of water gushing out in an instant. Hinata raised her fist, Sakura doing the same. They bumped against each other, the water around them turning pure blue from the incredible influx of chakra. The two women's hair lifted off their shoulders as they declared their technique's name. Water Style, Queen of Ocean's Rage. The water shot into the air, weaving into a beast slightly shorter than the tailed beasts. It floated off the ground via a funnel that moved into its torso. Its head took on a very feminine appearance, with spikes forming a crown atop its head. 8 spheres spun around it, ready to unleash an attack. To top it off, a fish-like tail wrapped around Sakura and Hinata, acting as added protection. Water Style, Aqua Armor, Hinata shouted, even more water covering the beast they'd created. Well, well, Madara chuckled. I'd venture to say you two have reached the pinnacle of water ninjutsu. I underestimated you. The girls smirked, using their free hands to do a half ram sign each, the spheres around them pulsing. Before Madara could recognize the attack, his white Susanoo was bombarded with 1,000 water needles. Each one sent a sharp pain through his body, piercing his Susanoo. He raised his staff, bringing it down on the water beast. Water Style, Aqua Shield. 2 spheres merged to create a dome that deflected the staff. The other spheres then transformed into spikes, piercing the staff, turning it to splinters. Madara lifted off the ground, more spikes flying up to meet him. He unleashed a flame that vaporized each one. Water Style, Liquid Hostage. Chains erupted out of the ground, grabbing hold of the Susanoo's legs. Madara's staff extended, tearing the chains apart with ease. He used his wings to create a powerful gust of wind, threatening to blow Hinata and Sakura away. Ninja Art, Prison of Infinite Ceiling. Madara was frozen in place, his movement prevented by an intricate, incredibly long series of seals that spiraled around his Susanoo. He looked up, the blonde Uzumaki bringing his hands together, even as he used a burst of chakra to break the seal. He was joined by Sasuke, whose purple Susanoo burst into existence, lightning transforming its flesh into a pure blue. Its helmet opened up to reveal a blue face, eyes and crystal on the forehead. He drew back his Susanoo's lightning bow, drawing back an arrow made purely out of Amaterasu fire. He released it, Madara catching it with minimal effort. He absorbed the flames, his Rinnegan widening as Sasuke and Naruto bumped fists. Let's go, Kurama, tailed beasts, Naruto smirked. Like you need to ask, Kurama bellowed, him and the other shrunken-tailed beasts reaching their fists to Naruto's back. Their chakra surged through him, his cloak becoming brighter and brighter. Naruto jumped into the air, Kurama's avatar exploding into existence. Sasuke's Susanoo vanished, allowing him to fall into Kurama's head alongside the blonde. His Susanoo then merged with Kurama, giving his body and tails a set of purple armor. Kurama charged, slamming into Madara, toppling him. Sasuke's Rinne Sharingan pulsed, a dark portal appearing beneath them. Both giants fell through the portal, appearing in a world made of molten lava. Kurama pushed off Madara, releasing a volley of tailed beast bombs. Madara knocked each one away with his staff, focusing on the stone ceiling, pulling chunks down on his enemies. Naruto directed Kurama's tails to bat away each chunk, while Sasuke fired another Amaterasu arrow from the bow mounted on Kurama's arm. It hit the Susanoo's shoulders, tearing part of the armor off. Madara cursed for once, his annoyance turning to rage. These kids are actually damaging me, even with the 10 tails, he muttered. Just how much power did they suddenly gain, and from who? His mind raced before it dawned on him. Probably that sage of 6 paths and his brother I saw in Black Setsu's memories before he betrayed me and Sasuke killed him. Another portal formed beneath them, transporting them into a land made only of sand. Madara instantly began to sink into it, Naruto wasting no time in borrowing Shukaku's power to engulf the Ten-Tails Jinchuriki with the sand. Fire style! Great fire annihilation! The flames turned the Serenni's sand to pure glass. Madara slammed his staff down, sending a shockwave towards his enemies. Sasuke released another Amaterasu arrow, burning away the oncoming sand. Him and Naruto charged, 9 large Rasen shurikens forming at the tip of each tail. Each one shot towards Madara, the Uchiha using his staff to knock each one away. The last one shattered the staff once again. He cursed, making his truth-seeking orbs into a large scythe, swinging wildly at Sasuke and Naruto. Kurama jumped away, standing on 2 feet, drawing a purple sword coated with wind. Kurama blocked Madara's scythe, causing another shockwave. Sasuke created another portal, bringing them into a snow-covered landscape. Madara flew into the air, taking in the bizarre worlds they'd been traversing through, assuming Sasuke was able to travel through them with his Rinne Sharingan. His eyes landed on the one thing he didn't expect to see within these new dimensions. Hinata and Sakura stood atop a mountain, their queen of Ocean's Rage, now as tall as his Susanoo, thanks to the melted snow and ice they'd created. That brat must have sent them here ahead of time, Madara cursed. I'd better end this, now. Kurama landed beside the girls, Madara climbing higher and higher into the air. One of his truth-seeking orbs flew into the bright blue sky above, growing larger and larger by the second, until it filled horizon to horizon. Expansive, truth-seeking orb. The planet-sized black sphere slowly started to descend, growing larger and larger still. This attack will reduce this dimension to nothing. Not a single atom will exist here. Not even you can avoid it. Madara hid his frown. Even with the insane amount of chakra he now possessed, this attack was going to burn through at least half of it. He reached for his horned forehead protector, snapping it off his head, revealing a red Rinnegan with 9 Tomo. A portal of his own appeared behind him. Perhaps I should visit some of these other dimensions before I cast the infinite Tsukuyomi, he muttered to himself. Yes, a little fun before my work begins. It's not like these kids will be alive to stop me. Madara's Susanoo gave a mocking bow to Naruto and the rest, before slipping inside the portal, which vanished moments later, leaving the shinobi to die. Can you create another portal? Sakura asked Sasuke. The Uchiha shook his head. I'm only able to use it a few times in succession. Now I have to wait for my Rene Sharingan to fully recharge. If we can't avoid it, then we'll just have to go straight through, Naruto smirked, reaching Kurama's hand over to Hinata and Sakura. Come on, girls, why don't you join us? I thought you'd never ask, Hinata responded, her and Sakura jumping into Kurama's paw, traveling into his head alongside the boys. The girls bumped fists once again, placing their free hands onto Naruto and Sasuke's backs. The Queen of Ocean's Rage swirled around the Susanoo-covered Kurama, his tails gaining a sphere of water at their ends. A shark-like fin sprouted from his back, a crown of crystal-clear water floating above his head. Kurama's eyes shone with a golden light, chakra surging through all of them. Every ounce of chakra they had filled their bodies. Before we do this, if we can't destroy this thing, I just want you to know. Yes, I love you too, Hinata said before he could finish, a faint blush on her cheeks. Do I even need to say the same to you, Sasuke? Sakura asked, her own blush forming. No need, Sasuke replied, a genuine smile on his face. I feel the same way. Too bad you never got the chance to buy her a ring, Naruto snickered. Oh, and you have one for Hinata already? Sasuke retorted. Naruto didn't answer. All he did was turn his head and give a foxy smirk to Hinata. A faint gasp escaped her lips, a tear of happiness forming in her eyes. She shook her head, her voice cracking slightly. Well, now we have to survive this. There's no way I'm not gonna see that ring on my finger. Naruto's smile grew, turning back to the oncoming sphere. I couldn't agree more. Sakura and Sasuke smiled as well, him and Naruto reaching their arms out. Kurama's tails raised above his head, his jaw opening. The spheres of water at the ends of his tail started to swirl and pulse violently, a dark sphere slowly building up at the center. Wind, fire, lightning, and chunks of earth began to spin around the sphere. Naruto was drawing in natural energy by the second, adding every ounce of it, his eyes flashing between their normal and their Sage Mode enhanced state. They were all drenched in sweat, the black planet above them seconds away from crushing them. Let's do this, Naruto declared, their technique condensing into a golden-orange ball the size of a fist. Sasuke, Sakura, Hinata, and Naruto shouted out in unison. Ninja Art! Void Star Rays! The golden-orange ball disappearing from view. However, the ball didn't disappear because it was unstable, but because it was so fast that not even the makers of the jutsu could see it move. The only proof that Void Star Rays still existed was the blinding detonation, followed a split second later by a deafening implosion. The expansive, truth-seeking orb folded in on itself, a golden-orange light forcing it to shrink. It took several seconds for the orb to become non-existent. The golden-orange light slowly fading away into the windy sky. Naruto and Sasuke's legs buckled, their companions steadying them. Can we return to our dimension now? Naruto muttered to the Uchiha. Just a moment, Sasuke replied, lightly panting. Once we get back, what do? Charge up another Void Star Rays? Sakura asked. We don't have enough power for that left, Naruto answered. Besides, that attack might hurt someone since we have little control of it. Agreed, but we've got to defeat Madara, fast. He's still got half of his chakra, Hinata warned. Me and Sasuke just need to touch him. That will seal the 10 tails, According to Kurama, Naruto answered. Sasuke summoned the portal, Kurama's avatar jumping through. They reappeared in their dimension before Madara, giving them a few seconds to prepare. When the white Susanoo did appear from a portal, Ki coated the battlefield instantly. You're still alive? Hell yeah we are, Naruto smirked, Kurama drawing a Susanoo sword and water shield. Madara's scythe formed instantly. He wasn't going to hold back again. I'm going to kill you, he declared. Majestic attire slash, Naruto and Sasuke shouted, sending waves of chakra at the Ten Tails Jinchuriki. He batted each away, chains made of water locking him in place long enough for Kurama to shove a sword through Madara's Susanoo, creating a large hole in its chest. Madara cursed, readying a fire jutsu. Elemental style, Rasen Shuriken! Madara looked up to see Kurama's tails creating a Rasengan with 5 shuriken-shaped rings. One red, blue, brown, yellow, and white, symbolizing the 5 major elements. The new, strongest Rasengan bore into the Susanoo's head, cracks instantly forming. Naruto and the others let out a battle cry, Madara's Susanoo shattering into a million fragments. The Uchiha's truth-seeking orbs, flying to protect himself as he was thrown against the earth, a crater forming instantly. Kurama's avatar disappeared, Hinata and Sakura charging at the Uchiha, fists coated with pure chakra. Madara sent out a shockwave which they jumped over, allowing him to appear above them. Sasuke swapped places with Sakura, slapping Madara with a black Chidori. Naruto brought an ultimate thunder spear down on him, a shield knocking him away. Hinata kicked Madara's chin, throwing him into the air. Water style, liquid bullets. Lightning style, lightning needles. Madara ignored the shock, absorbing a chakra-powered punch from Hinata. He launched a chakra rod through her side, making her wince, before the wound suddenly closed. A foot struck his face before he knew what had happened. Rasen Shuriken! Chidori explosion! Water style, giant vortex jutsu! Wind style, great breakthrough! All of the attacks struck, Madara gasping in pain. The girls both punched him into the earth, Naruto and Sasuke running to place their palms on Madara. But the Uchiha wasn't going to lose just yet. He released all his truth-seeking orbs, which Naruto blocked with his tails from his cloak, and Sasuke with almighty push. But once they were inches away, tailed beast bombs formed instantly in Madara's palms, the man intending to take them all out. As each bomb left his hand, time seemed to slow down for everyone. Naruto smirked, the tails from his cloak already touching Hinata and Sakura, using Flying Raijin to send them out of the blast zone. He then flashed to Sasuke, leaving a Hiraishin kunai at his former location, the bomb flying past it. Sasuke then used his Rinnegan to swap places with the kunai, the blade reappearing in Naruto's hand as the second bomb flew towards him. Naruto performed one last Flying Raijin technique, the seal on his kunai expanding to swallow the tailed beast bomb, teleporting it away. Naruto and Sasuke smirked, Madara in pure disbelief. His divine levels of speed, unable to avoid the palms that were already pressed against his white cloak. A wave of calm energy flooded the world. The sun and moon seal on Naruto and Sasuke's palms, glowing as the 10 tails within Madara was sealed, forcing him into unconsciousness. His Rinnegan pulsed one last time, already feeling the beasts within him splitting into 9 separate entities as his life faded. It was a good run, I suppose, Madara groaned. But unlike Kisame, I'll go out with some cool words, which are for you, Uchiha Uzumaki. Rot in hell. Madara Uchiha was dead. For good this time. The 9-tailed beasts returned to their respective Jinchuriki, the 10 tails existing no more. Naruto and Sasuke fell to the ground, their energy and stamina depleted. Hinata and Sakura managed to run up to them, only to collapse from their own exhaustion. They could feel Hamura's power beginning to leave them, since the Sage of Six Paths' brother was only able to give out his chakra temporarily. The markings along their bodies faded back into their forehead diamonds, which were also starting to fade. Looks like we won, Naruto panted. That we did, Sasuke agreed. Good. Now there's just one more thing to do, Hinata smiled, laying down beside Naruto. You've got to show me that ring. Naruto's face formed into a sheepish grin. Sorry, but I left it at home. Seriously? Sakura asked, her head resting against Sasuke's shoulder. You're such an idiot, Naruto. Hey, only I'm allowed to call him an idiot, Sasuke smiled at the pink-haired girl. Not for long, Hinata retorted. Because once we get married, I'm reserving that right for myself only. And that's why I love you, Naruto chuckled. The others let out faint chuckles as well, their fatigue catching up with them as they faded into unconsciousness. Naruto and Sasuke, holding Hinata and Sakura in their arms. If you like what you just heard, consider hitting the subscribe button and bell icon to get notified about new videos. If there's a part you've missed, then check out the entire playlist on screen. If you like this story, please share it with your fellow anime lovers. Any support helps a lot. That's all for now. This is Ninja Kai, disappearing in a golden flash.